Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 9 of season 2 of the F1 2019 HAAS Road to Glory career, where today we're here for the Austrian Grand Prix. And obviously if you guys missed out on the British Grand Prix that went live a few days back, I would highly recommend going back and check. Sorry, did I say the British Grand Prix? Sorry, I meant the French Grand Prix even, I should say. But obviously, yeah, if you guys missed that video, you probably know the drill at this point. Click the art at the top right hand side of your screens. There'll be a link to both that video and the full playlist from this series so far. But coming on then into the Austrian Grand Prix, hopefully some big upgrades going on the car as we move into this GP weekend. You know, we had a few rumours of stuff and the developments failed. Absolutely wonderful. That was a big upgrade coming into this weekend. The engine power cylinder head upgrade has failed there, and well, we're hopefully going to try and get that fixed for next time out, British Grand Prix. But I mean, yeah, we have big plans over the next couple of rounds. You can see just how much of improvement that was going to make. You know, that's going to bring us right up to, you know, Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari in this series. So we definitely need to get that fixed in this weekend. But safe to say, therefore, that's not really been the best return once again back to this series. But yeah, hopefully we can have a good weekend nonetheless. At the moment, I'm really just trying to farm the R&D points, you know, getting the team goals, everything like that. Really trying to build up because, you know, now we've got a lot of the small upgrades out of the way. You know, we're finding ourselves with a lot more opportunities to, you know, make big upgrades on the car. So yeah, hopefully this weekend we can do that. But, you know, we'll wait and see about all that just yet. You know, hopefully we can have a good weekend out here at the Austrian Grand Prix. But like always, you know, let's jump in straight away into qualifying.
Thank you for joining us once again for today's qualifying session. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what we hope will be a fantastic contest for pole position. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
Top speed is a key factor for this circuit. Even if you can achieve the same lap time as someone running less wing than you, chances are you'll find overtaking difficult if you have too much drag.
So here we are then, ready for qualifying for the Austrian Grand Prix. And I must admit, quite looking forward to this one. On the whole, with it being quite a short lap, you know, it really does give us an opportunity to try and get close to a lot more of the midfield here. And like always, the battle would begin in Q1. Rather worryingly, it still begins in Q1 here, ready for the Austrian Grand Prix. Could we potentially make it through into Q2 there? As you coming through turn 1 and turn 2, they're a little bit ragged through the first corner there as we come up the hill there. You can see we're currently sat in P14 at this late stage of the session here. But, you know, we've seen so many times just how much the AI can improve in the dying stages of qualifying here. And as you can see, on our lap so far, just fractions off Lucas Weber as we head through Sector 1 there. In towards the final couple of corners, though, of the lap. You can see just struggling a little bit with understeer as we head down in towards the final couple of turns here. You can see we're now about half a tenth down on my previous best here, but downshifting just once into the final couple of corners there. Really trying to use all of the exit curb as we possibly can out of the final corner and down towards the line. It's going to be a 1:04. I'm not too sure where are we going to be at the end of the session. It's P13. That is good. That is what we needed in this GP weekend here. You can see P13 at the end of Q1 there. Lucas Weber actually goes fastest in that first session ahead of Hamilton, Gasly and Butler here. So Renault and Mercedes really seem to be the teams to beat at the early stages of this weekend there. But yeah, P13 at the end of Q1. I think that's genuinely the highest we've ever ranked in a qualifying session so far in Season 2 of this career. There, my teammate Grosjean, though, misses out by just 4 thousandths of a second to Kimi Räikkönen there, but we were a good, you know, 3.5 tenths clear of my teammate, so I will certainly take that at the end of Q1 here. We're going to ride on board then with my full lap in Q2. Obviously, only got one shot as I had to do a double run in Q1 there, but through the final couple of corners we go. They're ready to go for a lap here at the Austrian Grand Prix circuit, trying to go slow and fast out of the final corner to make the long run down in towards turn 1 here. Want to break just at the 100 meter board there, take as much entry curve as possible and avoid the wheel spin, as obviously the long run up the hill in towards turn 2 and turn 3, you know, you can really scroll off a lot of momentum all the way up here if you don't get the run through the corner there. Brake just at the 100 meter board there and just try to get the car slowed down nicely over the curbs there. A huge moment of wheel spin on the exit of the corner there. Really not the best way as we head towards the top of the hill. Back down the other side now. You can see braking once again just after the 100-meter board there, just between that and that little gantry there as we head now down through turn 4 and at turn 5 here, trying to get the drive off the exit of the corner once again. That brake just at the 50-meter board and then swing it in to the double left-hander in towards the final sector of the lap. And you can see we're a good 7/10 down already on Devon Butler there. We've dropped so much time through sector 2 there. We can see down in towards the final couple of corners we go. Then make sure you just full confidence, full bravery in towards the penultimate corner there. Actually dropping it down double gears this time around in towards 4th through the final corner there. Getting another big chunk of wheel spin out of the final corner. And it's a 1 minute 4.5. And it is P14 at the end of qualifying there for the Austrian Grand Prix. That is not too bad by memory. You know, the last couple of rounds, we're so on the cusp of Q1 and Q2 in this series. And you can see, well, the top 11 separated by less than 0.4 of a second. That is just how insanely close this series has been so far there. George Russell signed to myself, and I think obviously RAIKKONEN down towards the rear of Q2 there. But yeah, it's just so ridiculously close in this series there. But it's P14 for the Austrian Grand Prix. Now it's time for the race.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us, Ant, and tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Perez, Butler, Hülkenberg, Norris and Valtteri Bottas, Russell, Sainz, Mr. Monaco and Raikkonen, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Lucas Faber. They've taken a grid penalty, and Lance Stroll, Fiat and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, we qualified higher than we were anticipating. Let's see if we can do just as well in the race.
So here we are then, ready for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's looking like a fairly, difficult one-stop Grand Prix is the plan here. You can see we're going to try and go the softs to the mediums in this race. But, only time will tell as to whether we can make this strategy work. Here at the Austrian Grand Prix, the lights are coming on now. It is 5 lights here in Spielberg. And it is lights out and away we go there. Carlos Sainz getting off to a much better start than myself there. But luckily for me, RAIKKONEN doesn't get much of a better getaway there as we come in towards turn 1 there. George Russell really, really early on the brakes there. We had to take evasive action from the Williams man there. I think he got a bit of a squeeze from Carlos Sainz trying to go for a bit of a lunge there. And well, luckily we didn't run into the back of George Russell now as we head up the hill in towards turn 2 and turn 3 there. And well, everyone up the road really, really early on the brakes there, up the inside of Bottas there. He tries to give me the squeeze, but luckily we do get up the inside. The yellow flags are now out, and somehow we've been able to make that move work on the Red Bull man. But just look at the drive on the exit of the corner there. Down in towards the next corner there. Bottas takes a swipe at me. Not too sure what that was all about there as we head now down in towards turn 4 and turn 5 there. Yeah, it's
That's a decent start.
It's a bit strange, the AI around the Austrian Grand Prix circuit. I'm not too sure what Bottas was really attempting there. Whether he was trying to play defensive, thought he was further up the road than myself. I'm really not too sure there, but we have survived at least the opening 2/3 of this Austrian Grand Prix first lap there as we head now down in towards the final couple of corners. And like always, we have really got to try and settle down into our rhythm as soon as we can in this race. Hamilton, though, leads the way at the end of lap 1 there ahead of his teammate Pierre Gasly there. And I'm not too sure what really happened to Renault because they looked really set to battle with Mercedes after the end of Q1 and Q2 there, but clearly just struggling in Q3. I'm pretty certain Weber, obviously behind us, you know, I think he had a penalty after qualifying there, so obviously clearly having to do something with the engine there, but really not ideal for the Renault team now as we head in towards the final couple of corners of lap 2 here. You can see Valtteri Bottas in the Red Bull car already all over the back of me here. He's going to try and line up a move in towards the final couple of corners of lap 2 there, and there's a bit of contact side pod to wheel there, and while Bottas gets through now up into P11 once again of the Grand Prix, we drop back down into P12, and yeah, really just struggling. You know, obviously these guys, it's still that horrible position like we sort of saw earlier in the season. You know, China is always a prime example of that for me. You know, we try to battle these guys, and although maybe we just about can, you know, with the slipstream, with the DRS, we don't really have the pace to hold in front of them there as we try to get back around the outside of Bottas towards the top of the hill. Accidentally put the car in neutral as we got onto the apex there. Well, Bottas does hold on to P11 once again in this race. George Russell now is going to be able to try and look round the outside as we head back down the hill there. We go up the inside of Bottas there. Way too late on the brakes there. Bottas going to be able to get the switchback move. Van now George Russell is going to be able to slip by, as well as now Lucas Weber up the inside in towards the next couple of corners. What are we going to be able to do there against the Renault man? I think he's been able to make the move work as well. We tried to hang around the outside there. He does give me the room there, but nothing we can do relative to that Renault car. You know, I'm pretty certain they've still got at least, you know, the second best engine in Formula 1 is almost into the back of him in towards the final couple of corners there. And yeah, Lucas Weber holds on now up into P13 even, I should say, of this Grand Prix as we drop back down the order like a sieve at the moment, leaking places in this race. But coming in towards the final couple of corners then, and Weber's going to now try and make the move on George Russell there. That was almost, well, a very big accident there. You know, a bit of contact, and luckily we understeered wide and managed to avoid it through a lack of car performance there. As now onto lap 5 we go, and Raikkonen is trying to have a bit of a look up the inside in towards to under. He's going to get the dive bomb to work. We're going to try and go for a bit of a switchback move there. As you can see further up the road, yellow flags have been deployed here. What is going on just up the road here? It seems to be moving around the track, so I can only assume it is a engine failure for someone further up. You see yellow flags. Who is it going to be? It's Sergio Perez once again in this World Championship. He got his maiden win last time out in the French Grand Prix, but apart from that, it has not been a season to remember for Sergio Perez. And now Raikkonen is going to, well, what on earth has happened there between Raikkonen? I've gone straight into the back of him. I feel like he's moved out in front of me there in towards the next couple of corners there. What is going on in this Grand Prix? We have lost most of our front wing in that situation. Let's just have a look on the replay cameras. Raikkonen, in my opinion, you can see he's on the racing line. On the racing line, we tried to think about going for a move, and well, Raikkonen, he's moved a good, you know, 2/3 to a whole car length, I'd say, across the road there. And, well, I honestly, I personally felt, you know, in that situation, Raikkonen completely moved across the road in front of me there. You know, he clearly picked his line. He was sticking to the racing line there in towards that corner, and sadly, you know, just as it, you know, itches ever so slightly to the left, unfortunately, yeah, we've gone straight into the back of him. Let me know your thoughts and feelings to that one down in the comments below, guys, because, well, I really was not happy with Kimi Raikkonen in that situation. And that meant, you know, into the pits we go, a 7-second pit stop as well. They're a new front wing. Unfortunately, that means, you know, the one stop is completely out the window as well. We're going to go on to a set of hard compound tyres, but I really don't think they're going to be able to make 30 laps in this Grand Prix there. And yeah, I was, safe to say, livid with Kimi Raikkonen. You know, he's given me a few issues so far in this World Championship. You know, generally because, you know, we've been battling and everything like that. Usually he's, you know, always frustratingly up the road. But that, yeah, was very different. I don't think really very often we've seen the AI do something like that, you know, completely come across me in the braking zone there. And sadly, you know, once we sort of committed to the line we were going for, and then Raikkonen moved into that space, you know, we locked up, panicked, locked the rear brakes, I'm pretty certain in there as well. That's why we had to, you know, oversteer back towards the outside of the corner there. And I think Grosjean, my teammate, actually got wrapped up in that one as well there. Really annoyed with Kimi Raikkonen. You can't just start moving around in the braking zones there. I think, I'm gonna guess it's similar to, you know, what Bottas did on, what was it, lap 1? Where obviously he sort of moved in, you know, he actually swiped me down in towards the break zone there, and that is something that, yeah, definitely needs to be looked into by Codemasters. Now, well, this race was going to be a lonely one for the most part then on out. Unfortunately, you know, lap 17 already now onto the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. We had slowly but surely closed up to Antonio Giovinazzi and Lance Stroll here in this Grand Prix. But yeah, you know, we had to make more pit stops in this race. That was really, it was going to be a day to forget for the HAAS team. You know, myself, you know, having to pit on lap 6, you know, the 2 stop at the very least in this Grand Prix. It was never going to be our day, and for some reason they decided to keep Grosjean out for his whole stint with half a front wing. I really don't know that, so we basically gained a pit stop on my teammate as well. In towards the final, well, in towards sector 2 even, I should say, around the outside of Lance Stroll there, we were able to follow Giovinazzi through, and now end of lap 17 we were all over the back of the Alfa Romeo man once again here. Are we going to be able to make any sort of move down in towards turn 1? What is he going to do? He's once again going to play it defensive here. Hopefully he doesn't move back to the racing line in the braking zone there. Well, doesn't get the drive off the exit of the corner there. We now move ourselves up into P14 of this racer. I think Lance might try and follow me through up the hill there, but you know, hopefully we can just try and break away from these cars nonetheless over the next few laps in this Grand Prix, and that is what we would be able to do in this race. They're now skipping all the way on to a lap 22 here, and we, you know, been able to build up a little bit of a margin to Stroll and Giovinazzi just behind us. You can see Raikkonen further up the road as well. And I think what annoys me most in these situations, you know, obviously if this was real life, you know, Raikkonen, the rear end of that car would have been absolutely destroyed. He wouldn't be able to continue. Sadly, you know, there is no damage model outside of, you know, the tyres and the front wing, and, you know, the DRS can fail and everything like that. I really do think it needs to be fixed on the F1 games. You know, something needs to be able to happen with the rear end of the car, because, you know, if you run into the back of someone in a league race, you know, well, I think obviously that's a bit of a difficult one, but, you know, if you run into the back of someone, you know, they're going to face consequences as well in real life. Sadly, you just don't get that on the F1 games. You know, it's fair enough in league races, you know, if you lock up and run into the back of someone, you know, they really shouldn't be screwed in that race as well. But yeah, it's just something that I think needs to, you know, be potentially looked at for F1 2020, you know, just a proper damage model for the rear of the car as well. But yeah, after that, this race would be pretty damn lonely for myself. We'd actually set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at the end of lap 20, about lap 25 here, I think, in this race there. But, you know, we went on to set the soft compound tyres, and they just weren't really lasting anymore. I don't really know what. I guess because we were pushing them like absolute crazy. You know, we weren't going to score points in this Grand Prix. We may as well just go a little bit crazy and try whatever we could there. As now onto lap 29 we go. Well, it's going to be close to myself and Grosjean out of the pit lane, but we do come out just in front there, and, well, understandably, we put out a big margin in just over a lap already. You can see Grosjean now is a good sort of 4 or 5 seconds back once again here, trying to get those hard tyres right the way through to the end of this Grand Prix here. But yeah, like I said, a race really to forget. There we pick up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. I'm not really too sure what on earth we've track extended there. I'm guessing they don't like that little bit of tarmac on the exit of the corner there. But in towards the final couple of corners of lap 30 there, we've dropped the rear end, and we've just skimmed the tyre wall there, picked up another piece of front wing damage, and that is it. I'm done in this Austrian Grand Prix. I can't remember genuinely the last time I felt that tilted in a career mode race. You know, online, fair enough, sometimes it happens, you know, someone does something stupid and yeah, you get screwed by it. I don't think, yeah, I've ever been this tilted in a career mode race though, and that is it for the Austrian Grand Prix. Not going to bother putting the final 6 laps of mileage on the car there, and yeah, really a terrible day to forget for both myself and HAAS on the whole.
So as they climb out of the car, the Renault team are ready and waiting to celebrate what was a thoroughly deserved win. What do you think it was, Hans, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think the key here was just the quality of the racecraft, you know? I mean, how many overtakes did they make overall? I'm sure we have a stat person keeping score somewhere, and it was fantastic to watch, wasn't it? This is a strategic sport at the end of the day, but it's always really gratifying to see close-fought battles on track. It's what all the fans are after.
Once again, it's podium time, and once again, it's a clear win for Renault. Renault have seen their fair share of success in Formula 1, and today is proof that they've still got what it takes to thrill us all. Congratulations to everyone on the team. So, let's review the driver's standings. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
I think it's got to be Lucas Weber. Time and time again, he proves that he's someone who can quietly get the job done, and that's exactly what he's done today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Having a look then at the final race results, and it's Devon Butler who now takes his debut Formula 1 Grand Prix victory there. I think that's, what, 3 different winners in the last 3 races that have now won their very first race in Formula 1. I think, you know, we've seen obviously now, you know, Devon Butler, Sergio Perez, Nico Hülkenberg, Pierre Gasly, all in the first 9 races of Season 2 have now got their very first Formula 1 race victory. So congrats to Devon, you know, really a bit of a dick, but still, hopefully, you know, he can move on from this one. Hamilton comes through for P2 ahead of, I think, one of the Ferraris and then Pierre Gasly. You can see Verstappen, Weber, Bottas and Norris round at the top 10 ahead of Sainz, Russell, Raikkonen, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Albon, Grosjean, myself, Danny Kvyat and Sergio Perez there at the end of the day. Devon Butler then obviously moves himself back up into P5 of the World Championship behind the Mercedes and the Ferraris there. Hamilton now has built back up a 25-point lead, a 1 race margin over Pierre Gasly there. And yeah, Butler jumps Hülkenberg there. Sergio Perez with yet another retirement drops further back in towards Lucas Weber once again. Max Verstappen jumps Lando Norris in the only other position swaps in that Grand Prix there. And Renault, while they've re-jumped Racing Point into P3 overall. And Red Bull really, really struggling so far in this World Championship. But there we are then, guys. That is the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure you do get yourself subscribed if you're new around here. And hopefully we can have a bit of a return to form next time out at the British Grand Prix.